Okay, we just did a Mishnah on Lamed Aleph Amid Beis, and the Mishnah was describing if a person made a neder not to have hana from Arelim. So we answered that Arelim would be does not mean circumcised. It means a Gentile. Even if it's the Yisrael who is not circumcised, or a guy who is circumcised, they won't be confused. The guy would be in the ballpark, and the Jew would be out of the ballpark. If you make a neder for Muslim people who are Gemalit, even if the guy is Gemalit, it would not make a difference. He would not be Chal Neder, because by Nedarim we go after Lashon B'nai Adam, and Lashon B'nai Adam was that an oral is a guy, and it has nothing to do with the physical removal of the foreskin, but has to do with how we use the Lashon. And the Lashon of oral was used for Goyim, versus Mulim used for Yidden. As a digression, the Mishnah mentioned some of the great things a person concerning the mitzvah of Milah, and the Gemara will now commence and go along the line, telling us wonderful things about Milah. It's a very nice way to end the parak, especially on a Motzei Shabbos. Baruch Hashem. Good Rosh Chodesh Kislev. Says the Gemara on Lamed Aleph Amid Beis Tanya. If Yeshua ben Karcha Omer, Gedoy LaMilah Shekol Zechuyos She'asa Moshe Rabbeinu LeAmdu Loi, that all the schus that Moshe did, LeAmdu, it did not go ahead and stand by him Kesnish Rashel Min HaMilah, when he was lax in performing the Milah. So the background is that at the end of Parsha Shemos, Moshe is coming down to Mitzrayim, and comes to a malone, to an inn, and some type of, again, it's very ambiguous, but Moshe was being swallowed up by something. We're going to see these malachim. Moshe was being swallowed up, and we're going to see in the Gemara today, the malach stopped swallowing, this monster stopped swallowing Moshe by the Makam Hamila. And as a result, Tzipora recognized that the problem was that the child Eliezer had not undergone a Milah yet. She took a sharp stone, she circumcised Eliezer, and then that monster malach went away. So that's the background over here. That's the background of what's going on over here. That we see how great Milah is, that no matter how great Moshe was so unbelievably great, right? Nonetheless, it did not stand in by Milah when he failed to go ahead and do Milah when he was supposed to do Milah. Then, as a result, he was almost eaten up, literally eaten alive. As it says, the pasuk says, "Vayivkasheu Hashem, vayivakesh hamisai," and he met up Hashem, and he desired to kill him. Amar Rabbi Chas Shalom Shemoshe Rabbeinu Nisrasha min Milah. Not that Moshe Rabbeinu was Nisrasha, lax in the Milah. Of course, he did. But here's the following reason he didn't give Eliezer a bris. Elakach Amar, Emo ve'etzei. How can I go ahead and give him a? Because Baruch just told Moshe to return from Midian to Eretz Yisrael, to go ahead and to Mitzrayim and take the Jews out. So I would think that's a pretty important mission. I thought we'd all agree. So Kadosh Baruch Hu said, that's what did Moshe say? I need to do a Milah, but I can't do a Milah and take him on the road. It'll be a sakana for the child. So I can't do that. Shenemar, it says on Yom HaShlishi, when they were Koravim. I said Shlishim. By Dina, but the Ma'asav Dina and Shechem, Shimon and Levi came on the third day and wiped out Shechem, right? And they were koravim, they were in pain. Now people use this as a raya that the third day of Milah is the most difficult, right? You've heard that the third day of Milah is the most difficult. The Ran will disagree. Let's just look at the Ran for a second, just for an interesting idea. The Ran is on the bottom line, 2 lines from the bottom. Not to say that the third day is more painful than the previous days. They waited to day number 3 that they would be weakened more. Why? In other words, exponentially, each day as it added up, they got more what? They got more in pain. So by day 3, they were more in pain, not because day 3 created more pain, but it was day 3 of a previous 2 days where they were continuous pain. So continuous pain, the person's weakened. So what do we see from here? We see that it's sakana, that it's dangerous. These people were so weak. They were killed by Shimon and Levi, two young, relatively young people. So Moshe said, how in the world can I take Eliezer on the road with the Milah? So therefore I have to do the Shlichus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and go to Mitzrayim, but I can't give him a Milah because it's sakana. That's what Moshe reasoned. So Emal the Esher Shleisha Yomim. So what should you do? Do a bris milah and wait 3 days. Hakadosh Baruch Hu Amalach Leich Shuv Mitzrayim. The delay, Hakadosh Baruch Hu told me to go to Mitzrayim. So Moshe was caught in a pickle. What does he do? To give a bris milah, then what? It's dangerous. Not to give a bris, Moshe Hashem told him to go. Ella. So therefore, if he wasn't this Rashi and Milah, if both of these svaras make a lot of sense, so why did this Malach monster go ahead and eat up Moshe Rabbeinu? What's going on there? El Mifnei Man Nenash Moshe. Why is Moshe punished? Mifnei shenis asek b'molay tchila. He went and he found a lodging before he did the Milah. Shnemar vayhi b'derech b'molay. It was the derech b'molay, and that's when the pasuk says he was under attack. It says vayhi b'derech b'molay vayifkesheu Hashem yivakesh hamiso. The attack took place when what? He was Mavakesh b'molay. Now, what will you say? He's still on the road. Guys, you'll say he's still on the road. In other words, if the reasoning was he can't be on the road because it's sakana, but Mola, on the way to Mitzrayim, he's still on the road. So how can you go ahead and say in the same breath that what he should have done a Milah? Says the Ran, Shenemar b'derech b'molay demashma demiyad sheboy min aderech. As soon as he came from the derech, this asik b'molay. He was being Isaac in yane of the molay of a lodging. The He should have done a bris first. You know, what would you gain? You have to go on the way, and it's a sakana. And for the Ran, and such a little way, like a sakanta. It was near Mitzrayim, and that little bit of road that they'd have to travel would not be a sakana, and therefore you had a taina. In other words, l'chayra, this could be the earliest time they could have done Milah, and instead of doing the Milah, it was Isaac in finding lodging. That was the taina against Moshe, according to the Gemara. Okay, so says the Gemara Vaita. He wanted to kill the baby. So what does Tzipora say? After she does the bris, Batichat Tzipora sar, she took a rock, Batichre says Arlas Bena, Batagal Raglov, Batoima Kichasan Domim Atali. Right, that you're a chasen. Seirei mi kari chasen haviyayim zehatin. Like that's the baby. Darshav Yehuda bar Bizna v'shashin nisvashal Moshe Rabbeinu min Amila bo af v'chema. There were two malachim. One was called af and one was called chema. They're both these lashon of anger. Right, af v'chema ubaluhu, and they swallowed Moshe up. V'leishayru mimenu el raglov, and the only thing that was left over were his feet. This is a euphemism, fellas. It's to the makam amila. It's the makam amila it stopped. Miyad, Batikach Tziporet Sur, Batichre says Arlas Bina. Like they realized that why did it stop swallowing at that point? The Malachim were alluding to the problem that was on the hand that they should have gone ahead and given the Milah. Miyad, it says V'yarach Mimenu. Immediately it says that they let him go. So Moshe wanted to kill Af and Chema. Shenemar, the pasuk says, Haref me'af be'ozoiv Chema, Eref me'af. Right, so he wanted to take care of them. The Yeshayimim lechema harga. He did in fact kill Chema. Shnemar. The pasuk says Hema ainli. I forgot. Siv. It says Ki agorti ifnei af v'hachema. So how can you tell me that he killed Chema? The same way a pasuk it says that what? It says that he in fact a pasuk in where's this pasuk? One's in Yeshaya. And one is in Devarim. So how can you tell me that he killed Chema? It says over here, Ki gatim fnei afla Chema. It says, what trey Chema have you killed one, and there was another one left over. By Sema Gudno de Chema. It was the army of Chema, but not Chema himself. Okay, Tanya, Rabbi Omer. Gedoyla Mila, another fantastic thought about Mila, Gedoyla Mila, She'en lechamish nesasik b'mitzvahs kavram Avinu, lo nikra tamim el Hashem Mila. No one was Isaac in mitzvahs more than Avram Avinu. The Gemara tells us that Avram Avinu kept kol haTorah. Avram Avinu, the Gemara says, kept kol haTorah. Afilu erev tavshil, and he kept everything. So Moshe was mamish Isaac b'mitzvahs. Shneimar, but Moshe was not considered tamim until he produced milah. Shneimar, kisalich lefonai v'heyei samim. Go in front of me and be samim. In other words, that how are you going to be tamim? Ksiv, I'll place my bris between me and you. So in other words, the bris is allusive to bris milah. As a result of the bris milah, you are tamim. Like we spoke at the other day And we'll see again today, we spoke out that the name of Avram signified that he added Shlita over not only his 2 ears and 2 eyes, but Malkam and Mila as well. Okay, so Davar Acher, Gedola Mila, Sheshakula Keneged Kol HaMitzvahs, Shebet Torah. Mila is equal to all the mitzvahs of the Torah, like similar to tzitzis, is equal to all the mitzvahs of the Torah. Shenemar, Ki Al Pi HaDvarim HaEleh, it says Al Pi Dvarim HaEleh, Karati Itcha Bris Ves Yisrael. So Karati is Bris Al Dvarim HaEleh, and the word uses the bris, right? Davar Acher, Gedola Mila, Shel Mali Mila Le'Niskayim Shmayim V'Aretz. Shenemar, Im Loi Brisi Yom V'Layla Chukas Mayim V'Aretz Le'Samti. It's an amazing thing. You see the Koyach HaMila. Baruch Hashem. Now, if Baruch Hashem, everyone's Gemalit, so you Mekayim the Mitzvah Mila, and one has a child, one should Mekayim the Mitzvah Mila. My wife just told me she's reading the book. She has a lot of time on her hands. She's reading the book about this fellow Rubashkin, who had spent 8 years in prison on some, terrible white-collar crime. Well, we all realized what kind of trumped-up charges there was. But when he was in prison, you can imagine the type of people he met. He met 2 people, and they were certainly well on in the years, and he talked them into undergoing a bris milah. He talked them into undergoing a bris milah. It was amazing. They took him there, 2 people, 2 prisoners, and they took him to hospitals. They obviously didn't do in prison. They took him to hospitals, and they underwent a bris milah. What an unbelievable thing. Upligi the Rebbe Eliezer, Dam Rebbe Eliezer, Gedoyle Torah, Shalmali Torah, and the Skayim Shemayim V'Aretz. So it's not the bris that keeps Shemayim V'Aretz, it's Torah. Shenemar, and Loi Brisi Yom V'Layla Chuk Shemayim V'Aretz, like something. In other words, Machlokes is, what's that pasuk speaking about? Is the pasuk speaking about bris, or the pasuk speaking about Torah? What's the supporting the world? Is the Torah supporting the world, or bris supporting the world? That's the Machlokes. Amar Yudam Rav. V'shosham HaKadosh Baruch Hu Amar Avinu Hisalach Lefanei Ve'Yisamim. When HaKadosh told Avram Avinu, go in front of me and be samim, he went ahead and he started to tremble. Amar, Shema Yesh Ki Bi Dava Meguna. Maybe there's something wrong with me that I'm not tamim. As soon as HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him, no, don't worry about it. You're gonna be tamim, and I'm gonna place my bris, my covenant between me and you. This kara daita, Avram Avinu, it was restored to him his balance. Now it says, what did he do? And this is by Perik Tesvav. So we did this is before the bris milah. He said this takes place before the milah takes place in Yud Zayin. This is Tesvav. It says that he took him out of his mazel. We're discussing on Ram Avinu, and now the Gemara does some very, very, very famous Gemaras. And took a list by some. Look at the Shemayim, look at the stars. You can count them. So he says, Avram Avinu says, what are you giving me? I go barren, because Baruch Hu takes him chutza. He takes him literally. He takes him outside and shows him the sky and says, "So it's going to be your children." That's the literal shot. Rashi brings a second shot that he gets from this Gemara. What does Gemara say? Histakalti b'mazel sheli, right? I looked at my mazel, and I'm not supposed to have children. I looked at my mazel, and I'm not supposed to have children, right? So vayotze chutza means he took him out of his mazel. He said, Avram ein lo ben, Avraham yesh lo ben, Sarai ein lo ben, Sarah yesh lo ben. He took him out of his mazel. So Amalite, say me at Stagnina Shachal. Go leave your astrological sign. Avram was an expert in astrology. Ein mazel Yisrael. Okay, we discussed it in Moed and Shabbos. My ein mazel Yisrael, without going too much into it, basically is the world is run through Derech Yachid. Derech Yachid is run through Malachim. The Tzibur, Klal Yisrael has that Kadosh Baruch Hu as on our side. Ein mazel Yisrael means you're not limited to your mazel. You're not limited to your mazel. A, because in certain cases it's directly to Hashem, and B, there's your Maisim Toivim could go ahead and override your mazel. So everyone is subject to the mazel, but a mazel Yisrael, you're not limited to your mazel. Okay, that's basically the Taisus of Moed Katan. Rabbi Yitzchak, Kol ha-mitamim atzma, HaKadosh Baruch Hu mitamimim. When any person goes ahead, literally he goes ahead and he acts in mitamim himself, he purifies himself, or he, what's the best word to touch mitamim? He's I guess tamim. He makes himself tamim, makes himself, just and pure. So anyone
he conducts himself wholeheartedly.
Okay. Anyone who conducts himself wholeheartedly, I like Tommen. I like my better than the art scroll. Guy does the right thing, right? Guy does the right thing, right? If anyone does the right thing, HaKadosh Baruch will do the right thing with him. Because it says, Shnemar, im chassid tischased, right, with a chassid tischased, with a person who is what? Tischased, in Gibor, Tamim, Titamam. I remember Shil, call him a Tamim Matzmai, show him Medeslay. You'll be Allah Gedula. You betam yourself, you'll be Allah Gedula. Shnemar, Hisalech Lefanai Vehei Samim. Go in front of me, Hisalech Samim. Ukasiv, and what does it say afterward? But you see the Avram Goyim. You see that what the going Tamim, result was Avram Avinu was Avram Goyim. So again, these are probably from those famous Gemaras that describe Avram. These are all, you think the Gemara is quoting a Rashi. It's you saw these Rashis, you saw these Gemaras in the Rashi. These are all Rashi, straight through, boom, 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 one after the other, and then all Rashi got them all from this Gemara. Okay, Amar Rabbi. Now, when you're speaking about metaming, acting wholeheartedly or going the right way, the other way is to depend upon other things, not a Kadosh Baruch Hu. In other words, you depend upon superstition or nichush. Nichush is a person who looks for futures using FanDuel or DraftKings, something like that. Person, just to make it contemporary, right? So if people that, ladders, walking on the ladders, and black cats and mirrors, all people who believe in some shtusi dicka things. Anyway, so Amrav Kol Menachesh Loy. Kol Menachesh Kama Loy Nachash. Shenamar Ki Loy Nachash B'Yakov. Right, the mother says Loy with an aleph, but Lamed aleph siv Loy Elamishum Mida Keneged Mida. Mida Keneged Mida. If you're going to go ahead and Menachesh, Loy Menachesh, let you go after your superstitions. You'll all intents and purposes, you'll go ahead and get a Kadosh Baruch Hu out of your life, right? You'll go ahead and deal with that. Look at the Ran, guys. Go up. Kol Menachesh Loy Nachash. These are people who are diviners or superstitious people. Right from Acharav. They get damaged. A person who is makbid on these things is makbid. We spoke out on occasion that ayin hara could affect you to the extent that you believe in it. In other words, there is an Indian of ayin hara, but the more you believe in it, the more effect it has upon you. Look at the lashon is called the man the kapit kabina. The one who's makbid, that's the one who believes in this stuff. The kapit's him. So kol nachesh loy nichesh. The one who says who's menachesh loy to him, the nichesh goes the Kadosh Baruch Hu. So he's brought a pasuk. The pasuk's a loy. It's not. So mida keneged mida. It makes sense. The Kadosh Baruch Hu punishes us mida keneged mida to learn from our mistakes. You're being punished this way to tell you that's exactly what you did wrong to correct it. So obviously, if you're going after these things, then you're believing these things, and so on and so forth. Correct yourself. Okay. Says the Gemara Vaita. Tani, Ava bereid the Reb Zera said Ava the son of Reb Zera. Kol adam she'ena menachesh machnisin say b'mechitzos. Anyone who's not menachesh, we bring him into mechitza. Shafil malchi asharei saying yechalom likanis b'saychei. They're going to be in Shemayim in a place where even malachim will not be. Shneimar kiloi nichesh b'Yakov. V'loi kiloi nichesh b'Yakov v'loi kesem b'Yisrael. I think the Ran says they're going to have to ask what's going on over there, right? Look at the Ran. He adds a few words. Do we didn't have this Gemara, right? The Gemara didn't say anything, right? So it seems to be that they're going to ask what exactly is going on. What's Hashem doing? Since these people are not believing in superstition, they go into HaKadosh Baruch Hu's partition. They don't go to diviners, card readers to find the future. Guys, let me speak it out. Beautiful, beautiful. What's the purpose of nichush? So usually it's superstition on I'm going to have a bad day. No, you want to know the future. People go to tarot cards reader. You see these advisors. People want to know the future. They always want to know what's going to be. And Klal Yisrael says, whatever's going to be is going to be. I might be talking about Kodesh Baruch Hu. Mamela, a lot, Mida Keneged Mida, La'asilava, when these people die, HaKadosh Baruch Hu puts them into places where he reveals secrets that only they would know, only like they would know futures, only secrets that the Malachim would not know. That's the Mida Keneged Mida of being put in these places as a result. Amar Ravo, Amar Rabbi Lazim, not Nenash Avram Avinu, in the Shabdu Ban of Mitzrayim. So we're speaking about Avram. We digress. Why Avram Avinu? We was put in Mitzrayim. Supposedly, we're supposed to be in Mitzrayim. The Bissa Ben Besarim. Why was that? Avram says that Kadosh Baruch Hu, "My Eda Ki or Shena." How do I know I will inherit it? So Chazal tell us, since Avram asked B'ma Eda, he was punished with Yodoa Teda. Since Avram asked B'ma Eda, he was punished with Yodoa Teda. In other words, Avram had no right to ask about how do I know I'll inherit Eretz Yisrael. As a result of asking for that, he was punished with Galus Mitzrayim. So the Mefarshim, the Kli Yakar, and the spot asked. Usually, HaKadosh Baruch Hu punishes the person directly, right? In other words, Avram did nothing wrong, and his children are suffering. Doesn't make sense. Avram asked B'ma Eda, and all of a sudden, his children are punished with Yodoa Teda. Usually, a person's punishment. So it's fair to say that, okay, it's a punishment to Avram that his children are punished. Usually the punishment is directly. So the Kli Yakar answers beautifully. Avram asked for something he didn't have right to know. The punishment of a Ma'eda is the knowledge of Yodoa Teda. Since Avram asked for something he didn't have right to ask for, Hashem punished him by telling him something he didn't have a right to know. Last week's parsha, why does Avram die at 175? He shouldn't see Esav go l'tar b'sra. So you see, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted Avram to die b'sei b'tova. So why is he telling him about Galus Mitzrayim? Let him die without knowing about Galus Mitzrayim. Why do you have to tell him that? So the Kli Yakar answers beautifully. Since Avram asked something he didn't have a right to know, he was punished with something he didn't have a right to know. Okay, so now here's the question. What's the reason for Galus Mitzrayim? What's the reason? What did Avram do to cause Galus Mitzrayim? The Gemara answers now. Here's the reason. Background, Perek Yudalid in Bereshis. Lot is captured. There's a 4 kings battle of 5 kings. The Melech Sodom is one of the 5 kings. Lot was residing in Sodom. The 4 kings overcome the 5 kings. Og, who is on the losing side, comes and tells Avram. Avram takes people, goes to battle, and he defeats the 4 kings, and that's what happens. Now, what did Avram do wrong? Here's the background. Here we go. Says the Gemara. Omer Rabbi Lesson, Nenash Avram Avinu in the Shtabdu Banav Mitzrayim. What was the reason? Messiah invested Shalom 210 years. Meshaasa Angarya b'Talmidei Chachamim. He used Talmidei Chachamim. He used them for Avodas HaMelech. He took people to war. Just because you want to go to war against the 4 kings to save Lot, what right did you have to endanger these people? What right did you have to endanger these people? So Shenemar, because it says, by Yorik es Chanichav, he went ahead and he armed those who had been mechanech, Yelidei Beisai, Ushmul Amar Shehifiz Al Midash Al Kadosh Baruch Hu Shnemar b'Ma'eda Ki Shena. He questioned Al Kadosh Baruch Hu. Okay. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Shehifish Bnei Adam Likonis Tachas Kasvei Shchina Shnemar Tenli Nefesh V'Chutz Kachlach. When the Melech Sodom offered, he said, "You take the spoils and I'll give you my people." And Avram gave him back everything. So he should have kept the people and gone ahead and converted them to teach them about monotheism. V'Yorach Chanichav. It says that Avram went to battle. He was Yorach es Chanichav. Yelidei Beisai. Rav Amar Sha'arikan b'Torah. He caused bittul Torah. Like bringing them to battle, he emptied them out from Torah. Ushmul Amar Sha'arikan b'Zahav. Of course, he Sha'arikan b'Zahav. He says Sha'arikan b'Zahav. He gave them a lot of money to go to battle. Okay. Shmoyne Esei Shalosh Meyos 318. Amravami Barabba Eliezer Keneged Kulam. Eliezer was what? Keneged all of them. Ikediami Eliezer who the Chishbona Hachahave. It was Eliezer who that was the Cheshbon, right? That Eliezer was 318. The Gemashi of Eliezer is 318. So I thought Avram goes to battle against the 4 kings. There's a few questions here that are very fascinating. So I thought I'd share them with you. So the pasuk says, here it is. He hears that Lot is captured by Yorek es Chanichav, right? he goes ahead, the Targum of York, he's Mizares, he arms those people he had taught. Yelidei Beisai, Shmoina Asa Ushleishmeish Vayir Devadon. 318, and he's Radif till dawn. Now, what the 318 is a very modern number. So 318 says Rashi, Rabbeinu Amru, Eliezer Levada Haya, it was Eliezer alone, Minyan Gematria Shel Shmo, that's the Minyan, the Gematria of his name. So it's really, really difficult to say that he went to Eliezer alone. In other words, guys, Og was on the losing side. Og lost the battle. How in the world can Avram go to battle with one person against such an army that was so powerful? So the kasha is, but Rashi says Eliezer Levadai. On that, Eliezer Levadai, says the Maharal, it doesn't mean he only took Eliezer. It means it was won in the schus of Eliezer. Jewish battles are won not necessarily because of what? Because of power. Jewish battles are won because of schusim. In other words, we have schusim. When Bnei Yisrael didn't have schusim because Achan took from the spoils of Yericho, they went to battle against Ai, a very small nation, and they were defeated. We win in schusim. So says the Maharal, it was one in the schus of Eliezer. So I always wondered what Eliezer's schus was. And I think I have a wonderful pshat. I saw it recently. I don't remember from who, but I here it is. Guys, look at this is Yonis ben Uziel, and is explaining who Eliezer was. Now look what it says. He took the Chanech L'Karva Mir Benaya Besa, the ones who used Makarif knows in his house. He didn't. Who did he choose? Minhoin Yas Eliezer Bar Nimrod. He went ahead and he took Eliezer, the son of Nimrod. Okay, he took. Says the an unbelievable guys. You know who Eliezer was? Eliezer was the son of Nimrod. You know who one of the four kings was? Amraphel. Amraphel was Nimrod. Amrapul. He said, throw Avram into the Kibshana Eish. Eliezer was willing to go to battle against his own father for the belief in Avram. That's how loyal he was as a servant. So that will be a beautiful hezber of the Maharal. When Rashi says he took Eliezer Levado, who did he mean? It can't be one person. You can't go to battle. Ain't Samchan al Anes. He took people. But the schus was not those people. The schus was Eliezer. And what was the schus we're suggesting here? The schus was Eliezer was the son of Nimrod. He was willing to go and fight against his own father for Avram. A very, very nice pshat to explain what's going on over there. Okay, very good. Says the Gemara Baita. We have Cheshbonis, right? This is a Gemara of Gematrias. So when I saw this Gemara today, I thought of one person. I thought of Avi Rosenzweig. So Avi Rosenzweig is writing. He's not going to stop writing. What's today? What was this week's parsha? Was Parshas? Hold this. Ekev Hashashama Avram, right? Of Ekev, because Baruch Ekev. What's the Gematria of Ekev? 172. How old was Avram when he recognized Hashem? How old was he when he died? 175. So Avram kept 172. That's what Rashi brings in Pashas told us. You know where he gets it from? Daf Lamed Beis in Nedarim. Here you go. Right over here. Here's the Gemara, guys. So we have the Gematria of Eliezer 318. Ravami Barabba, the same person. Gimel Shonim Hikar Avram Esboiroi. Avram was 3 years old when he recognized his creator. Be aware the Rambam in the first in Hilchos Avodas Kechavim disagrees with this. He has a different cheshbon. The Ravid is masig on him with this. So I think he says Avram recognized Hashem when he was 48, something like that. Shnemar Ekev Hashashama Avram the Koili. Right, so you see Ekev 172 when that Avram recognized my call for 172 years. Chushbana Meya V'Shivim Tarim 172. Rami Bar Abba Amid Beis, same person. Hasotin b'Chushbana. What's the chesbon of Hasotin? Is Tlas Meya V'Shishim Varba 364, guys. You do the math. It's Hey is 5, Shin is 300, Tes is 9, that's 314, and is Nun 314 and 50 is what is 364. So what that the Sutton 364 days can shepherd with us, but what he doesn't shepherd on Yom Kippur. On Yom Kippur you get off. This is not Hasidic stuff, guys. This is not people who say gematrias. This isn't something that's showing up in the Sheva brachas. You know, this is real gematrias, right? This is real gematrias. Says the Gemara Vaita. Avram. It says Avram. Ksiv Avraham. Initially, he had shlita of 243. That's the gematria of Avram, 243. And then when he got the mitzvah of Mila, and he changed his name to Avraham, 248. We mentioned this the other day. Eluhain, Shtei Anayim, what's the added 5 of 243? His 2 eyes, Shnei Aznayim, and his 2 ears, Rosh Agvia, and the Malkam Amila. These are the things that cause a person to sin. Why does it say there's a pasuk in Koheles? Here's the whole pasuk. Ir Ketana Vanoshim Ba'Ma'at, small city, not a lot of people. Elecha Melech Gadol, comes a large king. The Savav surrounds it. Ubon Olem Tzaidim Gedolim, and builds big siege towers. Umatzava Ish Miskein Chacham, Umiladu Esair, and this it's found a person, a Chacham who saves the city, the Chachmasai. And people don't remember that's Ish. So this is in Koheles, and this is an allegory to, again, a small city surrounded by a powerful king. A Chacham goes ahead and saves the city, and then he's forgotten. Let's see the nimshol of this. It's the Irkatan of Nashim, Irkatan Zu Aguf, that refers to the body. Nashim Ba Ma'at Elu Evarim. These are the limbs of the person. Ubo Ilay Melch Gadol B'Sav V'Sa Yetzahara. Ubon Olem Mitzudim Gedolim. It changed from Ram to Gedolim. Elu Avoinais. Those are what? Those are our Averis. Umatzaba Ish Miskein V'Chacham Yetzatoiv. Umolad who has the ear B'Chachmasla. He saves the person. Zu Shuhu Ma'asim Toivim. The other one is Zachar is Sahish Miskeina who the B'Shas Yetzahara less than Mitkal lately Yetzatoiv. When the Yetzahara is in action, people don't remember the Yetzatov. Okay, that's a very pasuk in Kehelis. Hachacham hoyois lechacham me'asora shalitim asher hoyu ba'ir. It says the chacham toyos lechacham that we dash in the pasuk. What does it mean? Hachacham to'os lechacham zu tshuva ma'asim toivim, right? Me'asora shalitim, better than 10 evarim that rule over a person, and we'll see them eat them in a second. Is tshuva ma'asim toivim. What are they evarim? Shtei Einayim is 2, Shtei ears is 3, is 4, Shtei Yadayim is 6, Shtei Reglayim is 8, Rosh Gevia is the Bakamil is 9, Upeh is the 10th. And Shuv Ma'asim Toivim, these are all the things that cause a person to sin. He wanted the kuna should come out from shame. He wanted to come out, I said Misham Mishem. Again, and end of the battle, Avram returns from battle, he meets Shem, he meets Malki Tzedek. Malki Tzedek is Shem ben Noach, who koyin lekel elyoin, and v'yitin l'maisa mikol. And then he goes ahead, Malki Tzedek, and he benches Avram, and in his bracha he mentions Avram before Kadosh Baruch Hu. As a result, they lose the kahuna. Says the Gemara. Well, he wanted that the kahuna should come out from Shem. However, kimin who koyin lekel elyoin. Malki Tzedek was the koyin lekel elyoin. Kimin shehikdim. Once he went ahead and he prefaced Birchas Abraham with Birchas Hamakim, right? V'hoitzi me Avram, because Baruch Hu took what the kohen out of Avram. We'll see in a second. The kasha, it wasn't Avram the descendant of Shem. We'll see the teretz in a second. Shneimar vayivarcheu vayomer Baruch Avram, says Malki Tzedek, who is Shem. Blessed is Avram lekel elyon, to the God on high. Kohen shemayim v'aretz uBaruch kel elyon. So first he benches Avram. So only Avram he makdim in Birchas Eved the Birchas Kainai, you make the bracha of the Eved, myself the bracha of Kainai, miyad nasnul Avram. Immediately was given to Avram Shnemar. It says Num Hashem ladoini shev limini ad oshis leivecha hadoim raglecha. At Adoni is Avram Avinu, and he says what the four malachim they're going to that Avram sheyesh liminoi the hainu because Baruch Hu went ahead and was maftiach that it would help him against the 4 kings until what? Avram became Hadoim Raglav, Hashem's footstool. So how do you know he became a Kohen? Ubasrei Kasiv, it says, Nishba Hashem le'inachim, at the Kohen la'olam, al devarasi Malki Tzedek. You will become the Kohen. See, al means the Bur Shal Malki Tzedek, find the Kasiv, who Kohen lekel elyon, who Kohen veins are a Kohen. He's a Kohen. Malki Tzedek was a Kohen lekel elyon, but anyone else was not because they didn't come from Avram. So the question is, did Avram come from Shem, guys? Did Avram come from Shem? So take a look. Lefika chaytzi mi Avram. Look at the Ran. Lefika chaytzi mi Avraham. The Alpha Pisha Avram Yizara Shal Shem. So Yisrael the Kahuna did come from Shem. Loisacha Bekahuna Machmas Shem. He wasn't Zeicha Machmas Shem. El Machmas Atzmai. The schus came from Avram himself. Vainu Darmin and Hu Koyin being Zara Koyin. Klaimar. So Yisacha Zara Bekahuna Machmasai. The Zera of Shem, when that's Zeicha to the Kahuna Machmas Shem. Shem Hachi Notlam Nikol Shar Zara Shal Shem V'Nasal Avram. Well, in other words, if it would have came from Shem guys, then all the Zera of Shem would have been Kahanim. But now that it was given to Avram, only the Zera of Avram, not all the Zera of Shem. So, good.